My elder sister and I were to marry on the same day, but it was my brother-in-law who lifted my wedding veil. Only then did I learn the truth. My sister and the man I loved had carried on in secret, swapping our wedding sedans. My brother-in-law was blind and frail, with a gentle, soft-spoken nature. He spoke to me in a quiet, tender voice. "Do not fear, they will not live long. Just endure a little while longer, later." I would realize the ones he said would not live long were my sister and my former beloved. My elder sister and I were twin sisters, sharing 8 parts of the same face. Her temper was like fire, bold and bright. I was mild and unassuming, quiet and reserved. The previous year, the emperor had issued an imperial edict of marriage, betrothing us to 2 men. My sister was to marry Prince Ning, and I to Minute Shi, a rising star in the imperial court. My sister had always been competitive, determined to outshine others in everything, but I never could have imagined she would dare to act so recklessly when it came to our marriages. It was a warm spring day, already growing slightly muggy, yet I felt as if I had fallen into an ice cave. Prince Ning sat opposite me. If he discovered I was not my sister, tomorrow would likely be the death of the Jiang family. Defying the emperor was a grave crime, whether it meant exile for the entire clan or execution by beheading. It was a fate I could not bear. My sister could be selfish, but I could not. When all the attendants had left, I hesitated, then rose to bow to Prince Ning. "Greetings, Your Highness." Though Prince Ning was blind, he could surely tell the difference between my sister's voice and mine. He paused and asked, "Your voice?" After our betrothal, Prince Ning had visited our home twice. He remembered my sister's voice. "I have caught a cold. My voice may have changed a little," I lied. Daring not say more, Prince Ning seemed not to doubt me, merely nodding slightly. Then rest early. My heart thundered in my chest, my mind racing to find a way to get through this wedding night. I had already sent a servant to inform my father. Until I received word from my family, I dared not let Prince Ning discover the bride had been swapped. Prince Ning stood, and I stepped forward to support him. He was tall, with a face of unparalleled handsomeness, yet it was a pity. The previous year, he had suddenly fallen gravely ill, and had been blind ever since. In truth, if he had not lost his sight, a man as noble and refined as him would never have been betrothed to a daughter of the Jiang family. And of course, if he had not fallen out of favor after losing his sight, my sister would never have risked everything to swap our marriages. "I can manage on my own." Prince Ning smiled at me. "You did not eat much for dinner. I had someone cook noodles for you. Have some." I bowed my head and agreed. He washed and changed quickly, never once stumbling over a wooden bucket or chair as I had feared he might. Presently, he emerged wearing pale moon-white inner robes, his long hair loose, standing in the flickering glow of the candlelight. He was as elegant as an orchid or a jade tree, the very embodiment of gentle nobility and refined grace. I could not understand why my sister had swapped our marriages. Though Prince Ning was blind, he was still a prince after all. No matter how promising Minute Shi's future was, he was not worth her gambling with the lives of our entire family. "How are the noodles?" Prince Ning sat on the edge of the bed, turning his head to find my direction by sound. "They are very good," I replied, my head still bowed. Prince Ning nodded slightly. "Why are you so quiet today?" My heart skipped a beat, and I lied hastily. "I suppose I am nervous, in this unfamiliar place." He tilted his head slightly, deep in thought. Prince Ning asked me, "Was everything well with the wedding at your home today?" "It was." I set down my chopsticks. "Your Highness, I will go to wash up." I fled to the bathing chamber, my heart beating even faster. I could not shake the feeling that with Prince Ning's wit, he might see through my pretense at any moment, if he discovered the truth. How would I answer? I lingered for a long time before emerging. Prince Ning leaned against the head of the bed, and at the sound of my footsteps, he turned to look in my direction. My foot slipped, and I knocked over a footstool. Prince Ning frowned and asked, "Did you hurt your foot?" I clutched my foot, fighting back tears, and was about to reply when he suddenly lifted me into his arms. I let out a small exclamation, "Your Highness." He set me down on the edge of the bed and took both my feet in his hands. "Which one? Is it bleeding?" I tried to pull my feet away, but he said, "Shall we send for a physician?" Prince Ning asked if I wished to send for a physician. A sudden thought struck me, and I answered at once, "Yes." He chuckled softly, "Very well, then we will send for a physician for you." I pulled my feet back, and Prince Ning rose to sit beside me on the bed. After a moment of silence, he suddenly asked, "Are you afraid of me?" I thought his tone sounded like a test. I waved my hand, then remembered he could not see, and said, "Your Highness is known for your gentle temper. How could I be afraid of you?" He raised an eyebrow, his expression meaningful. "For example," he said. I had not expected him to press the matter, and I froze. "That time at the Jean River source, when a waiter was clumsy and spilled soup on your robes, you did not anger him at all. Instead, you comforted him." He tilted his head slightly, musing. "Were you there that day?" "No, I was not," I hastened to deny. "I heard it from someone else." In truth, I had been there that day. Not only that, but something unpleasant had happened, but I could not speak of it. A servant announced the physician's arrival outside. Prince Ning tucked the quilt around me before bidding the physician in. The physician said the injury was not serious, and would heal with rest. It was indeed not serious, only a momentary pain. But I hesitated, wanting to make up some other ailment to get through the night. To my surprise, before I could speak, Prince Ning said, "Physician Wang, apply some medicine and bandage her wound. The weather is warm, and an open wound is prone to evil influences." I stared at Prince Ning in surprise, as if he had read my mind. Physician Wang was a quick-witted man. He did not merely bandage my toe, he wrapped my entire left foot up like a rice dumpling. "A tendon or bone injury takes 100 days to heal, Your Ladyship," Physician Wang said solemnly, instructing me, "Rest well in the days to come, and do not put weight on it, lest you injure the muscles and bones." Prince Ning agreed readily, saying, "Thank you for your trouble. I will treat you to tea another day." "It is my duty," Physician Wang said, and took his leave in a hurry. I looked at my foot, swathed in bandages, and did not know whether to laugh or cry. "You are injured, rest early." Prince Ning tucked the quilt more tightly around me. "I will sleep on the daybed, so I do not bump your foot and worsen the injury." I stared at him in stunned disbelief, my heart a jumble of emotions. I scarcely slept that night, tossing and turning until dawn, thinking of several excuses to avoid going to the palace for the royal audience. To my astonishment, he spoke first. "You are injured and cannot move easily. We will dispense with these tedious formalities." I did not have to go, so from the moment I hurt my foot last night, he had already planned everything that followed. But why would he do that? A fierce curiosity about Prince Ning stirred in my heart. With the excuse of my injury, my parents and elder brother came to visit. Prince Ning exchanged a few polite words with them, then excused himself, saying he had matters to attend to. "Jiang Yang is simply outrageous," my father said, growing angry, and blamed my mother. "This is all you're doing. Spoiling her rotten. She is arrogant and reckless, acting without a thought for the consequences." My mother was also wronged, clutching her handkerchief and crying, "Blame will solve nothing." I reminded them, "How is sister faring?" My mother said in a low voice, "What is done is done." I rubbed my forehead, at a loss for words. "Second sister," my elder brother said, looking troubled. "Brother knows you love Minute Shi, but in this situation, if we force you to swap back if the truth ever comes out in the future." I understood. My sister and Minute Shi had already consummated their marriage. To make her come back and be Princess Ning would be an unspeakable insult. Putting myself in Prince Ning's shoes, I would never forgive the Jiang family either. We have no choice but to let things be, I sighed. My mother hugged me and cried softly. This is fate. My father flew into a rage. What nonsense is this? Though Prince Ning has fallen out of favor, he is still a prince. How bad could his life be? I wiped my mother's tears. She cried for my broken heart. She thought I had been betrayed by my own sister and the man I loved, and that my fate was bitter, and she told me to accept it. I was indeed angry. So when we returned to the maternal home tomorrow for the 3-day visit, I would ask them face to face. After seeing my family off, Prince Ning did not return until nightfall. I had nodded off, and did not hear him come in until he stopped by the bed and called, "Madam." I sat up. "You are back, Your Highness. Have you eaten dinner?" He let out a breath of relief and smiled. "Not yet. Will you keep me company?" He seemed to be in a very good mood. The meal was served, and he asked if the food suited my taste. My sister and I had similar tastes, both preferring light dishes, but my sister loved lamb above all else, while I was a picky eater who disliked meat. Only enjoying fish and shrimp, there was both lamb and fish on the table today. I picked at the lamb and smiled. It is delicious. This was only the second time I had ever eaten lamb. The first time was when I was about 4 years old. I had thrown it up after eating it, and had refused to touch it ever since. Afraid I might throw up again today, I quickly ate something else to settle my stomach. Thankfully, I did not. I was hesitating whether to eat the lamb heartily, as my sister would, when a series of quick footsteps sounded outside, and a small head peeked through the door, bright black eyes darting around, curiously studying me. "Are you the 7th prince?" I asked with a smile. The 7th prince was Prince Ning's younger brother, 4 years old this year, 14 years his junior. Their mother was Consort Liang. She had followed the emperor since his days as the crown prince, though she was no longer favored now, with 2 sons by her side. Her status in the palace was second only to the empress. "Are you my second sister-in-law?" The 7th prince ran in, his voice soft and childish. "Second sister-in-law, you are so pretty." I was about to speak, when Prince Ning coughed lightly. The 7th prince quickly straightened his expression, stepped back 2 steps, and bowed to me. "Zi Yang greets sister-in-law." I returned the half-bow. The 7th prince stayed for dinner as a matter of course. He was a chatterbox, chattering away non-stop, lively and adorable. "Second sister-in-law, what does it mean to marry?" the 7th prince asked, grinning mischievously. I was stunned, and he pulled a funny face. "To marry means to kiss all day long." The 7th prince pouted his little mouth. "Have you kissed yet?" My face flushed hot in an instant. Out of the corner of my eye, I glanced at Prince Ning. He was also stunned, the tips of his ears turning pink. An awkward silence fell over the room. "How dare you speak to your sister-in-law like that? No respect for your elders." Prince Ning rapped the table lightly. The 7th prince's little face fell, and he looked as if he was about to cry. I hastened to smooth things over. "It is all right. He must have heard some silly joke somewhere. You must not spoil him." Prince Ning said, "lest he learns you are kind and pesters you every day." I looked at the 7th prince's eager little face and smiled. "He's our own brother, let him pester all he wants. We're a family. You're good to me, and I'll be good to you." The 7th prince threw himself into my arms. "A family?" I froze, my cheeks flushing as I glanced at Prince Ning. He was hanging his head, sipping tea, a soft smile playing around his brows and eyes. The 7th prince refused to leave, insisting I play chess with him. Prince Ning frowned in feigned annoyance. "We're going to rest now," as the 7th prince trotted out. He called over his shoulder, "Second sister-in-law, second sister-in-law, don't forget to kiss." Prince Ning clapped a hand over his mouth. I burst out laughing. When Prince Ning came back, he paused by the table, his voice a little awkward. He's always had a loose tongue. "Don't take it to heart." "I won't. Children speak without thinking," I whispered. Prince Ning tilted his head, his gaze finding my direction. Then let's rest early, rest together. My heart raced as I stood up, my breath unsteady. I'll call for someone to make the bed. Prince Ning smiled without a word. In an instant, I realized I'd misinterpreted him, and I froze, mortified and flustered. That night, Prince Ning still slept on the daybed. Early the next morning, I unwrapped the bandages on my foot. The servants stared in amazement when they saw it was fine. Truth be told, I'd wanted to keep up the pretense for a few more days, but it was far too hot, so I resolved to stop pretending. In the morning, Prince Ning accompanied me back to the Jiang family for the 3-day wedding visit. My father held the 3rd rank in the Ministry of Personnel, a respected scholar who'd risen from humble origins, upright and incorruptible. The Jiang manor was not large, with only 6 loyal servants in the household, so I had no fear of them gossiping outside. When I stepped through the gate, I saw my sister and Minute Shi. My sister was unrepentant. Minute Shi loves me, and I love him. Instead of 4 of us suffering, we might as well let us be happy. Anyway, what's done is done. If you want me to swap back, fine, but I won't bear the consequences. My father flew into a rage and struck her. My sister had always had a fiery temper. She grabbed teacups and vases and smashed them to the ground. Why does everything good always fall to Jiang Li? So what if he's a prince? It doesn't change the fact he's a blind man now. Don't talk to me about the crime of defying the emperor. I'm not afraid of death. Whoever is can take the blame. She turned her glare on me. Minute Shi loves me. Only me. Even if you marry him, he'll never be yours. Shut up. I slapped her hard across the face, my voice low and furious. In your eyes, it's only love and desire. You don't care about the lives of your own family. I grabbed her arm and dragged her toward the door. If you're not afraid of death, then we'll go to the prince right now and tell him the truth. Let him decide if we live or die. I'm not going. Let go of me. How could my sister not be afraid of death? She was the kind of person who'd cry in her sleep if she dreamed of dying. Our struggle was cut short by the sound of footsteps at the courtyard gate. My elder brother was accompanying Prince Ning in. Prince Ning paused in the courtyard and asked, "Madam, what's wrong?" I clapped a hand over my sister's mouth. "Jiang Yang, if you make one more sound and let the prince suspect something, I'll kill you right now." My sister was terrified by my expression. I shoved her away, smoothed my skirt, and went to greet Prince Ning in the courtyard. "It's nothing. Just a silly quarrel between my sister and her husband." "I'm glad to hear it." Prince Ning's brows relaxed. I supported him into the main hall, and the moment I looked up, my eyes met Minute Shi's. He stared at my hand on Prince Ning's arm, a flicker of loss in his eyes, as if I were the one who'd broken a promise. Everyone sat down, and apart from my sister, everyone chatted earnestly, so the atmosphere was tolerable. Minister Minute is still in the Hanlin Academy. Prince Ning asked casually. Elder Yang's wish is for me to gain 2 years of experience first, then be posted abroad to temper myself. Minute Shi's tone was tinged with pride. After 2 postings, I'll return to the capital. I hung my head and sipped tea. Minute Shi had every right to be proud. He was the top scholar of the imperial examination, a rising star in the court, and a disciple of the Grand Secretary Yang. If he made no mistakes, he would surely have a place of great influence in the court in 10 years. There was even talk in the palace that Grand Secretary Yang intended to groom him as his successor. That was why my sister had set her sights on him. A minister's wife held far more status than an idle prince's consort. But now I thought, for all his talent, Minute Shi lacked the wits to be a powerful minister. He would never achieve great things. Admirable. Prince Ning nodded. "And what of your highness?" Minute Shi asked. "The emperor plans to renovate the altar of sacrifice. In every dynasty, it is a prince who oversees the construction. Have you submitted a petition, your highness?" The atmosphere turned cold at once. My sister shot me a triumphant look. "I'm blind," Prince Ning said lightly. "There's nothing I can do. Resting well is my main priority. Minachi glanced at me, his words loaded with meaning. Indeed, Your Highness ought to rest more. I cut Minachi off and asked Prince Ning, Your Highness, is the soup too salty? Prince Ning raised an eyebrow, instantly understanding my meaning, and smiled, not to my taste. Then it must be too salty for my brother-in-law, I suppose. I looked at Minachi, a faint smile on my lips. By salty, I meant idle Xian, the same pronunciation, idle enough to meddle in other people's business. Minachi's face flushed bright red, a faint, proud smile tugged at Prince Ning's lips, and he leaned close to me, his voice low, Madam, I want to eat fish. Very well. I focused on picking the bones out of the fish for him. He rested his chin in his hand, his gaze toward me, though he could not see. His expression was utterly content. My sister fell silent, and Minachi drank in sullen silence. This fish is excellent, Prince Ning said. I suddenly thought that Prince Ning was not nearly as solemn as he appeared. After the meal, I went back to my old room to fetch something. When I came out of the small courtyard, I saw Minachi standing under the lush peach tree. He looked at me, his face filled with regret. Ali, I'm sorry. I had no desire to speak to him and started to walk around him. I do love you. But what's done is done, and I'm sorry. He chased after me, pleading, I'll make it up to you, whatever you want. I stopped and turned to face him. I want you to kill yourself to atone for your sins. He froze. Then shut your mouth and keep this crime of defying the emperor buried forever. I did not look back. Walking down the path to the front courtyard, I had once been fond of Minachi after our betrothal. He was talented and handsome, and he'd said he loved me. In those long, sleepless nights, I had quietly dreamed of a future with him, but that fragile affection had vanished the moment my wedding veil was lifted the night before. Some people were simply not worth it. Madam, Prince Ning was waiting for me at the gate. I hurried over, and he held out his hand for me to take. I'm not familiar with the roads in your family compound. I'll trouble you, madam. I took Prince Ning's hand, and we walked out together. Slowly, Prince Ning seemed in an excellent mood. On the way back, for some reason, the single sedan chairs had been replaced by a carriage. Prince Ning explained, the sedan bearers have family matters to attend to. I sent them back. The Prince Ning manor had no sedan bearers, but the Jiang family did. The thought flashed through my mind, and I smiled and agreed. Where's the footstool? Prince Ning stood by the carriage. The coachman and his attendant Liren stood stock-still, not moving an inch. I had no choice but to step forward and help Prince Ning into the carriage. Prince Ning was in high spirits, even buying pastries along the way. Seeing his good mood, I plucked up the courage to ask tentatively, Your Highness, have you ever been deceived? If someone lied to you, what would you do? It depends on the person and the matter, he said. What if it was a stranger, and they lied about something momentous? Prince Ning's tone was calm and unhurried. Then I would make sure they paid a price. Oh, I was so frightened I crushed the pastry in my hand. I thought of what my mother had said to me before I left. Before the prince finds out, have a child with him. Then, for the child's sake, he will keep this secret. It seemed I had no choice but to do as my mother said. For the sake of my family's lives, I had to have a child with him as soon as possible. What are you thinking about? Prince Ning asked suddenly. These pastries are delicious. My cheeks warmed, afraid he'd read my thoughts. I quickly changed the subject. Will the seventh prince come over today? Prince Ning frowned slightly. Does madam like the seventh prince? He's mischievous and adorable. I see, he probably will, he said. In the afternoon, the seventh prince arrived right at dinner time. Clinging to me non-stop to talk and play chess, even in the evening, he insisted on walking in the courtyard. Your Highness is not very mobile. Perhaps we should skip the walk. I did not want to tire myself out. I needed to save my strength for the night. Madam, I am not immobile. Prince Ning stood up, readily agreeing. Let's go for a walk. I stared at him in surprise. Let sister-in-law and I hold second brother's hands, the seventh prince said. Then he won't fall. The three of us walked round and round the courtyard. After half an hour, the seventh prince began to complain of sore feet. Second brother, I can't walk anymore. Prince Ning called for Liren. Send him back. The seventh prince pouted, unwillingly being carried away. Madam, I'm not tired, Prince Ning said. Let's continue. Very well. I had not expected Prince Ning to be so fond of walking, but I had no choice but to keep holding his hand and walking with him in the garden, but I was eager to go back and rest. We were to consummate our marriage tonight. His health was already poor. If he was too tired, it would surely be a problem. What are you thinking about? Prince Ning asked suddenly. I'm afraid you'll tire yourself out, Your Highness, I smiled. Shall we go back to rest? Prince Ning tilted his head, his gaze seeming to fall directly on my face, curious and probing. My heart fluttered with guilt, and I quickly changed the subject. In the end, it was not Prince Ning who grew tired, it was me. After washing up, I forced myself to stay awake. Your Highness, let's rest. I had placed his pillow on the bed, but sadly, he could not see it, so I had to hint with my words. Very well. Prince Ning poured himself a cup of tea. I quickly lay down on the inner side of the bed, and in the blink of an eye, I fell fast asleep. When I woke up the next morning, Prince Ning was gone. Tsuejuan, Tsuejuan. I scrambled out of bed, lifted the quilt, and stared at the spotless sheets in chagrin. It seems we didn't consummate the marriage. What do we do now? Tsuejuan was the same age as me, and knew nothing of such things. I should have asked mother what to do for the consummation. Shall this servant sneak out of the manor and ask an old woman for advice? I thought it was a good idea. There was no harm in asking when you did not know something. At noon, when Tsuejuan came back, she was carrying a bag of loaches, and said to me mysteriously, that old mama said this is good for men to eat. These are newly bought today. Your Highness, please have more. At dinner, I picked a few pieces of loach for Prince Ning. He took a bite and raised his eyebrows. Why did you think of buying this? Prince Ning asked, addressing Mammy Wang. Miss Tsuejuan brought them back, and the madam ordered the kitchen to cook them for Your Highness. Mammy Wang replied, Your Highness has never eaten such unclean things before. Should this servant take it away? Mammy Wang shot me a meaningful look. She clearly knew the effects of loaches. I wondered if Prince Ning knew too, and suddenly regretted telling the kitchen to make this bowl of loaches today. I had been far too eager. I bowed my head to drink soup, my cheeks burning too hot to look up. It's fine. It tastes very good. Prince Ning turned his gaze to me again. Thank you, madam. I forced a smile. After lunch, I had planned to rest. But Prince Ning made a pot of tea under the tree and said, It's been a long time since I practiced swordsmanship. Would madam like to watch? I was stunned. Why on earth did he suddenly want to practice swordsmanship? Hadn't he said he was in poor health? Prince Ning took his sword and began to wield it. His movements were elegant, smooth and flowing. I remembered that before he lost his sight, he had been equally accomplished in civil and martial arts. Once, father came home a little drunk and told us that Prince Ning had been poisoned just because he was too outstanding, outshining the crown prince. I sighed softly. Born into the royal family, one may have fine clothes and rich food, but also bears more troubles, responsibilities, and risks than ordinary people like us. When Prince Ning stopped, I brought him a teacup. I'll have someone heat some water for you to wash up. Thank you. Prince Ning nodded and sat under the tree with me. He suddenly asked, Your birthday is in a few days, isn't it? How would you like to celebrate it? I had completely forgotten, and never thought he would remember. Just a bowl of longevity noodles will do. It's a small birthday, nothing important. Prince Ning said nothing more. Back in the room, he went to bathe. I noticed his change of clothes was still outside, So I opened the door to call Liren, who was always standing guard outside, but was nowhere to be seen today. Shall I take them in? I hesitated outside the bathing chamber. We haven't consummated the marriage yet. Will he think I'm frivolous? There was no movement inside. I gritted my teeth and knocked on the door anyway. Your Highness, may I bring in your change of clothes? He did not reply at once, and in that moment I already regretted my impulsiveness. But before I could react, he said in a low voice, "Thank you, madam." I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. Prince Ning was sitting in the bathtub with his back to me. His shoulders, rising above the tub, were broad and straight, and his skin seemed smooth too. I glanced at him randomly, then quickly averted my eyes. "Madam," Prince Ning's voice was soft and gentle, "just put the clothes by my hand." "Yes." I walked over with my head down, my heart pounding. I was about to step out when Prince Ning suddenly said, "Take your time, madam." I wondered if I was imagining it. But his voice seemed to carry a smile. I grew even more flustered, daring not even reply. When he came out, he was holding a handkerchief and looking for me everywhere. "Madam, I'm here." I had intended to make an excuse to leave, but I had to answer when he called. He said, "Could you trouble madam to call Mammy Wang in?" I asked casually, "What does your Highness need her for?" He waved the handkerchief in his hand and pointed to his hair. My heart warmed. "I'll dry it for you," he laughed. A light and bright smile. "Very well, thank you, madam." Prince Ning's hair was beautiful, smooth as satin when combed down. I tried to make conversation, wanting to get to know him better. "Does Mammy Wang always attend to your daily needs, your Highness?" Mammy Wang and Liren do." Prince Ning looked a little troubled. "Mammy Wang is getting on in years. She said a few days ago she wanted to retire to the countryside to live in peace. And Liren is going to get married too. I plan to pick 2 more people to attend to me closely. Could madam keep an eye out for me too?" Prince Ning said. Mammy Wang was only 40, and already wanting to retire. It really was a prince's manner, far more generous in treatment. "Of course," I thought for a moment, "then let Mammy Wang retire. I can take care of your close personal needs in the room too." This way, I could grow close to him quickly. Then consummating the marriage would be a natural next step. Prince Ning paused and turned his head to me. "Taking care of me will be very hard work. We are husband and wife. It's only right, even if it's hard." I whispered, "Besides, your Highness can take care of yourself for the most part. It doesn't seem that hard to me." Prince Ning said nothing for a while. I thought he would not speak again, but after a long time, he suddenly said, "Very well, then I won't look for anyone for now. Thank you for your hard work, madam." Mammy Wang seemed eager to leave the manor. We had only talked about it with the prince at noon, and by evening she had packed her bags and come to kowtow and bid me farewell. I wondered why she was leaving at this hour, unwilling to stay even one more night. But I was not close to her, so I did not ask any more questions. "Thank you for taking care of the prince all these years, Mammy." I told Suejuan to give her a bag of money. "The manor will always be your home. You can come back anytime." Mammy Wang's voice choked up. "This servant has taken care of the prince since he was born." I spent the whole afternoon writing down his likes and dislikes in a booklet. She handed the booklet to Suejuan. "From now on, the hard work will fall to Her Highness the Princess." No wonder she was leaving at this hour. She had been writing down Prince Ning's likes and dislikes all afternoon. Mammy Wang left, looking back every few steps. I was just giving orders for dinner when Liren came to see me too. "This servant is going home to get married. I won't be back for half a month." I was very surprised. Was the date only just set? He had not mentioned it at all before. "No, it was set last year," he said. I did not ask more questions, also gave him a bag of money, and told him to come back early. "The prince can't do without you by his side." Liren gave me a somewhat wronged look and nodded in agreement. He bowed and took his leave, muttering as he walked, "It's so urgent. Where am I going to find someone to marry?" "What?" I did not catch it clearly. Nothing. This servant takes his leave. Liren trotted off. Once they were gone, every little detail of Prince Ning's close personal care fell to me. Even the task of writing letters on his behalf in the study was mine. I hesitated a little. Am I allowed to do such things? Prince Ning smiled. I remember that Madam and her sister are both known as talented ladies in the capital. I had to bite the bullet and sit opposite him to read and reply to his letters for him. For Minister Cai's letter, Prince Ning paused. Reply to him that if he wants to return to the capital, he had better wait until after the plum rain season, otherwise there may be floods during the plum rains, and as he is still in office, he may neglect his duties. Does Madam like flower cakes? I shook my head. Then tell him to send some flower cakes, along with some new fabrics and women's hairpins and ornaments. Brother Liu has gone to the border grasslands, it seems. Prince Ning sighed. Reply to him that I am well in every way, and wish him safety. I agreed. Does Madam like milk candy? He asked. I've never tried it. Then tell him to bring some back. My pen paused slightly in my hand. You don't have to go to such trouble, Your Highness, I said softly. You can buy everything in the capital. His kindness was meant for my sister. If he ever found out that his wholehearted affection had been misplaced, he would surely be heartbroken and angry. He suddenly walked over, bent down in front of me, his face warm with a smile. Madam just said we are husband and wife, and need not be polite. I laughed. You're right, I was overthinking it. He looked up. Would Madam like to go out for a walk? The peonies in the peony garden are in bloom these days. I'll accompany you to admire the flowers. In previous years, my sister and I would always go to see them, but I did not want to go this year. I was afraid of meeting acquaintances who would recognize us, but I did not want to miss the chance to spend time with him. People are emotional beings. The more we get along, the more memories we make. And the deeper our bond becomes. The peony garden was not close, so we took the same carriage. When we arrived, there were not many people yet admiring the flowers. I wore a veiled hat and held Prince Ning's hand, wandering among the flowers, my mood lightening with every step. This is the deer leek. I introduced the flowers to Prince Ning, and this is the male red. Though Prince Ning could not see, he listened very carefully. What kind is the one we have at home? Ours at home is the rat aunt. I smiled. You are very attentive, Madam, Prince Ning said. Tomorrow we'll add some other kinds to the manor, so Madam can admire the flowers when you have free time at home. Talking about peonies sparked my interest. Really? Then can I grow some camellias too? Prince Ning seemed infected by my enthusiasm. Madam, the prince's manor is your home. No one would dare say a word even if you raised cows here. I burst out laughing. Then I really will raise cows. Then I'll build you a cowshed. I laughed for a long time, and he smiled at me too, then paused and said, I've thought about it. I might still object to the cowshed. It's too smelly. How about I build you a greenhouse instead? A greenhouse is perfect. I've always wanted one. He smiled, pressing his lips together. I had always wanted a greenhouse when I lived at my mother's home, but the house was small, and the whole family was cramped enough as it was. There was no extra space for me to plant flowers and grass. Prince Ning tilted his head and smiled at me too, as if sharing in my joy. Tell me all the other flowers Madam likes, and I'll have them all brought back for you. I really listed quite a few for him, then felt I had let my excitement get the better of me. It would be wonderful if I could get my hands on the six-cornered red. What a coincidence. A friend of mine has it. Really? Of course. I was so happy I hugged him. Thank you, Your Highness. His body stiffened for a moment. Though he did not hug me back, he was in a very good mood, smiling all the while. My mood was even better. Then I suddenly thought of Minute. If I had married him, he would never have built me a greenhouse, because his family's garden was small too. The thought jolted me back to reality. The sword of defying the emperor still hung over my head, and yet I was glad I had married into the prince's manor and gotten the greenhouse I had always dreamed of. Is Madam not happy anymore? Prince Ning asked. I was stunned. Amazed at his perceptiveness, he could sense the change in someone's mood even without seeing them. I was about to explain when I suddenly heard someone call me. Jiang Yang, what a coincidence to meet you here today. It was Zhao Tsongyu, my sister's good friend. Her father was a censor in the censorate. Zhao Tsongyu used to come to my house to find my sister often, but she had never been warm to me. A firm squeeze on my palm jolted me back to my senses. I'd unconsciously clenched Prince Ning's hand in my anxiety. My heart skipped a beat, and I loosened my grip at once, turning to greet Zhao Tsongyu in the same tone as my sister. Greetings to Your Highness the Prince, and Her Highness the Princess. Zhao Tsongyu had a temperament much like my sister's, straightforward and fiery. She curtsied, then turned to me. This is the first time I've seen you wear a veil. I smiled. The sun is bright. It's just for shade. Oh, Zhao Tsongyu glanced at Prince Ning, thinking he could not see, and leaned in to whisper in my ear. Is Prince Ning good to you? I nodded. He. Zhao Tsongyu lowered her voice further. I saw Minute Shi quarreling with your sister yesterday. I've been worried about you. Thank goodness you didn't marry Minute Shi. Let me tell you, he has a lover outside. Your sister's going to have her hands full now. I stared in stunned disbelief. Minute Shi had a lover outside. He prided himself on being noble and upright. How could he do such a disgraceful thing? You always said your sister was lucky, but in my opinion, her luck is nothing compared to yours. She snickered. I forced a smile in reply. I didn't know about Minute Shi's business. I'll ask my parents when I go home. It was outrageous for such a thing to happen right after their marriage. Do ask, Zhao Tsongyu finished, then heard her companions calling her. She bid us farewell, took a few steps, then thought of something and leaned in again. I'll come visit you at the prince's manor another day. She shot Prince Ning a meaningful look, then lifted her skirt and ran off. I watched her retreating figure, my heart sinking with worry. There would be many more such incidents to come, sooner or later. The truth would come out. Paper could not wrap up fire forever. What's wrong? Prince Ning squeezed my hand. Has something happened to your sister? Should we go see her? Before I could go find my sister, I ran into her at the gate of the peony garden. After exchanging courtesies, my sister tugged me aside. What are you and the prince doing here? We came early this morning. I frowned. Did Zhao Tsongyu invite you here? My sister nodded. Have you lost your mind? I wanted to pry open her skull and see what was inside. Jiang Li and Zhao Tsongyu are barely acquainted. She invites you, and you just come. My sister's chin jutted out defiantly. I wanted to admire the flowers too. Besides, I've come every year before. Why can't I come this year? I trembled with anger, gripping her wrist and pulling her a few steps away. I ask you, did you tell Zhao Tsongyu about the switched wedding sedans? I suspected Zhao Tsongyu had done this on purpose. No sooner had she met me than she sent for my sister, but she had no reason to invite Jiang Li, who was supposed to marry Minute Shi and with whom she was barely familiar. How could I? My sister's eyes darted about. I hid it from father, mother, and brother. I'd never tell anyone else. We'd been sisters for 16 years. I could read her like a book, one flicker of her eyes, and I knew she was lying. Jiang Yang, I ground my teeth. If there weren't so many people here, I'd slap you senseless right now. Jiang Li, you think you're tough just because you're a princess now. Try slapping me. See if I don't tell the prince everything this instant. Jiang Yang squared her shoulders and lifted her chin. That was her way when her temper flared. She cared about nothing and no one. I felt dizzy with rage. Do you have any brains at all? This is defying the emperor, defying the emperor. My voice cracked with emotion. Think about father and mother, about brother, about little brother. I'm begging you, wake up, will you? Jiang Yang stared off into the distance, saying nothing. I knew my words had sunk in, and softened my tone. Go home at once. Don't step foot outside until I've smoothed things over with the prince. Fine, fine. Jiang Yang glared at me. You're so annoying. She stormed out of the garden gate. Even after she left, my heart remained in my throat. I glanced around in a panic and sure enough, caught a flash of crimson skirt disappearing behind a covered walkway. My blood turned cold. Zhao Tsungyu knew the truth about the switched sedans. She knew I was Jiang Li. I called for Cuizhuan and told her what had happened. Go find my brother at once. Tell him to find a way to keep my sister in line, tie her up at home if he has to. This servant understands. Even Cuizhuan was frantic with worry, but Jiang Yang was as stubborn as a mule. I wondered where all the books and teachings of propriety she'd learned over the years had gone. Madam, Prince Ning called. I hurried over and took his hand. My sister asked me a few questions. I talked with her a little longer than I meant to. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, Your Highness. Prince Ning shook his head. It's nothing. On the carriage, Prince Ning did not let go of my hand. I stared out at the busy streets beyond the thin curtain, my mind wandering. Jiang Yang's wild nature could never be caged, but I glanced at Prince Ning, sighing inwardly. It would take 2 months to know if I was with child. What if Zhao Tsungyu exposed the truth before then? Would the prince ever forgive my family? Madam, Prince Ning's voice was low. Is something wrong at home? Can I help? It's just a trivial matter, I said lightly. Tell me if something's troubling you. We are husband and wife. We should discuss everything, big or small, and face it together. Prince Ning's voice was gentle. My heart softened, and I almost blurted out the truth about the switched sedans, but I bit back the words at the last moment. Just a little longer. Just wait a little longer. Prince Ning worked with remarkable efficiency. As soon as I'd chosen the spot for the greenhouse, craftsmen began arriving one after another. Prince Ning and I threw ourselves into the project, discussing details every day. I discovered we shared very similar tastes. No matter how whimsical an idea I proposed, he always agreed. Would it be nice to hang a painting here? I asked. Absolutely. Prince Ning smiled. And a thin white silk curtain at the door. I nodded eagerly. When the wind blows the curtain and the faint fragrance of flowers drifts in, we'll make a pot of tea and sit here. Perfect. We both laughed. 2 days later, my brother came to see me at noon. He said my sister had been behaving herself, never stepping foot outside the house. He also said Minute Shi had sent away his lover outside. It was a fling from a few years ago. They had some affection for each other. But nothing irreversible happened. You can rest easy. What he meant was, Minute Shi had not consummated the relationship with the woman, so cutting ties was simple. How are you and the prince getting on? My brother asked. He was too embarrassed to ask if we'd consummated the marriage, but the worry in his eyes was plain to see. We get along very well, I whispered, but we still haven't consummated the marriage. He was blind. Dressing more scantily would not tempt him. I'd hinted at it once with words, but he either did not hear, or did not want to. In any case, he gave no response. I could not very well throw myself at him, and I would not know how to even if I tried. Brother, I whispered. Quietly hire a courtesan to teach me. To teach me how? My brother tapped my forehead. No, you are a young lady of the Jiang family. You must not associate with such people. Even if we die, we must die with dignity. My brother left dejectedly, and I let out a heavy sigh. Madam, Prince Ning called from the garden. I hurried over, and he asked, has Master Jiang left? I nodded. He asked, was he here about the Minute family's business? No, he just came to check on me. I changed the subject. Your Highness, let's go check on the lumber. A flicker of disappointment crossed his face, but he did not press the matter. On the 7th day of the greenhouse's construction, messengers arrived from the palace. Consort Liang had invited the prince and me to come. It was my first time meeting Consort Liang, but my sister had met her once. That time, my sister came home in a foul mood. saying Consort Liang was a cruel woman, because she hated the smell of perfume. She'd reprimanded my sister in front of many people. I'd heard similar things about Consort Liang's temperament. She was indeed short-tempered, and her relationship with her sons was poor. It was said that in the 2 years since Prince Ning had lost his sight, he only entered the palace to pay his respects on festivals. He took no part in court affairs, and did not visit the palace otherwise. Entering the Spring Longevity Palace, I saw Consort Liang. She was beautiful, but there was a sharp, unapproachable edge to her features. "Sit, is your foot better?" she asked. I nodded. Consort Liang waved me over to sit beside her. Once I was seated, she studied me carefully. "Why does your highness seem different today from the last time I saw you?" My heart skipped a beat. I think I've put on a little weight. I'd deliberately done my eyebrows and eyes the way my sister usually did. Could Consort Liang tell the difference? Having only met her once, it has nothing to do with weight. "Your brows and eyes are softer, more obedient," Consort Liang said. "This is better, much more pleasing to the eye." I nodded. "Have you two been quarreling?" Consort Liang suddenly changed the subject, shooting Prince Ning a meaningful look. Prince Ning spoke first. "We are well, no need for mother to worry." "Then why haven't you consummated the marriage?" Consort Liang's voice rose sharply. "Is it that you cannot, or that she will not?" Prince Ning's face darkened. "You meddle too much." He stood up. "Madam, let's go, Song Jingyi." I haven't finished speaking. Prince Ning ignored her, holding out his hand to me. I had not expected mother and son to quarrel like this. I hurried to stand, ready to follow Prince Ning, but Consort Liang shouted angrily, "Let him go, Jiang Yang, stay. I have more to say to you." I was caught in a dilemma. "I cannot." Prince Ning's jaw was tight. "Is there anything else you wish to know?" Consort Liang shot to her feet. The mammies in the Spring Longevity Palace quickly closed the palace doors and even drew the window curtains tight. Blind in one eye, and useless in bed too, Consort Liang stopped in front of Prince Ning. "The Crown Prince has 4 sons. Can't you even try to keep up?" Prince Ning let out a cold laugh. "You won't investigate who blinded you, won't seek revenge, fine. But now you're married, and you don't even dare to consummate your marriage and have a son. Song Jingyi, you're a coward." The spineless coward. I stared at Consort Liang in stunned silence. I had never imagined this was what she thought was the reason Prince Ning would not consummate the marriage. Think what you will. Prince Ning's voice was cold. There was more than coldness in his voice, there was a heartbreaking disappointment. I stepped forward and took his hand, wanting to comfort him. He froze for a moment, then squeezed my hand in return. "I'll give you 3 months. Consort Liang spoke to me now. If you do not conceive, I will take a concubine for him. 10 if 1 is not enough, 100 if 10 are not." I opened my mouth, but no words came out. "I'll say it again." Prince Ning's voice was slow and deliberate. "My affairs are my own to decide." He pulled open the door and led me out of the Spring Longevity Palace. Stepping into the sunlight, I finally felt the warmth seep back into my bones. Perhaps it was because of the quarrel between Prince Ning and Consort Liang that the Crown Prince sent an invitation in the afternoon for the full moon celebration of his 4th son. I prepared a gift and asked the prince if I could skip it. "I'm not going either," Prince Ning said casually. "Just send the gift over." I breathed a sigh of relief, then told Suejuan to send a message to my sister, forbidding her to go to the Crown Prince's mansion feast with Minute Shi in the afternoon. The steward of the Crown Prince's mansion came in person to invite us, but Prince Ning refused again, and the steward left with a dark face. The next day, I got the news my sister had gone with Minute Shi anyway. "She's insane." I grabbed Suejuan's hand. "Go find her at once and tell her to come back to the maternal home." I waited at the Jiang family mansion for a long time, but my sister did not return. I flew into a rage and smashed her favorite vase. Mother hugged me, crying. Mother will go find her this afternoon. Mother will beat her for you. Mother, I said, what on earth is going on in her head? Does she want me dead? Who said I want you dead? My sister burst in. The Crown Prince sent an invitation for us as a couple. How could I not go? I slapped her across the face. My sister flew into a rage too. You hit me again. Do you think I dare not fight back? Mother and Suejuan struggled to pull us apart. I rolled up my sleeve, revealing a scar on my arm. Are you even my sister? You recklessly swapped our wedding sedans and brought disaster upon us all, and I've been doing my best to clean up your mess. Can't you think of me just once? Have you forgotten this scar? My sister froze in place, the anger on her face fading in an instant. I forgot about it. She tried to reach for my arm, muttering softly, I really did forget. You should have reminded me first. I was so angry I collapsed into a chair. That scar was from the Crown Prince's sword. On our wedding night, when Prince Ning asked me how I knew he had a gentle temper, I told him about the time at John River Sauce, when a clumsy waiter spilled soup on him and he did not get angry. My sister and I had been there that day too. The Crown Prince had been drunk then. Passing our private room, he saw me and gave in to his lust. Coming over to grab me, I smashed a teacup at him, and he drew his sword, about to kill me. It so happened that Prince Ning was passing our door. He could not see, but he recognized the Crown Prince's voice and called out, Brother Emperor, are you here too? Afraid that Prince Ning would find out about his misconduct, the Crown Prince suppressed his anger. What are you doing here? A clumsy waiter spilled soup on my robes. Prince Ning tugged at his wet gown, looking a little disheveled. Who are you with, Brother Emperor? It sounds quite lively in there. The Crown Prince stared at Prince Ning's wet clothes, and the wariness in his eyes faded. He tossed the sword aside and left with Prince Ning, acting as if nothing had happened. I was saved, and snuck home through the back door. The Crown Prince had been drunk that day. He probably did not know whose daughter I was, or perhaps he knew, but did not want to make a scene and ruin his reputation, so the matter was dropped. But I had been seething with resentment, and my sister and the whole family knew it. How can you be so sure the Crown Prince won't remember that day when he sees your face? I asked my sister. I'm sorry. My sister cried too. Besides, I didn't see the Crown Prince yesterday. The ladies' quarters were separate from the men's. My sister was also scared when she thought about that day. Jiang Yang. I wish you'd use your head. Every step we take now is like walking on thin ice. Even if you don't care about the family, think about yourself. My sister mumbled. Actually, I regret it too. Mother and I both stared at her. She hung her head, sniffling. Minute Shi is not a good match. He has a woman outside, and is not as upright as he pretends to be. If I'd known what he was like, I would never have swapped the sedans. She muttered on. I want a divorce, but I'm afraid of losing face. Besides, I don't want him to have it easy even if we get a divorce. I'll make his life a living hell. Mother and I stared at her in stunned silence. You should thank me for swapping the sedans. She glared at me. If you'd married him, you'd just swallow your anger and let him bully you every day. So don't hate me. We're even. Mother sent the family steward to accompany my sister back to her husband's mansion. The steward reported to me every day about my sister's doings. She behaved herself and did not go out for 3 days, but only 3 days. Then she accepted Zhao Tsongyu's invitation and invited her to the mansion to play. I told the steward to warn my sister, but she paid no heed. The next day, the steward came back to report that my sister had quarreled with Minute Shi and scratched his face raw. The young master's mistress outside is pregnant. The steward sighed. The eldest young lady refused to let him take her as a concubine. They argued first, then came to blows. My head ached more and more as I listened. Didn't you remind her to ask brother to step in? They had only just married, and Minute Shi already wanted to take a concubine. He clearly had no regard for the Jiang family, or even the Prince Ning mansion. So brother stepping in would have been justified. Master Jiang went to see the young master on his own initiative, and the young master agreed at first, but the eldest young lady, for some reason, actually had someone drug the mistress. When the young master found out, he called the eldest young lady vicious and said he was determined to take the mistress into the mansion as a concubine. I was stunned. It was like my sister to go over and hit someone, but she would never have thought of poisoning someone. I frowned. Where did she get that poison? That kind of poison was only available in the red light district. Respectable families could not lay their hands on it. The steward shook her head, saying she did not know either. Go tell brother to keep an eye on Jiao Tsongyu, I said after a pause, my voice low. 9 times out of 10, she's the one who gave the poison to my sister. And don't let Jiao Tsongyu see my sister again. The steward bowed and left. Madam, Prince Ning walked in. I pushed my worries aside and went to greet him. He frowned. Why are your hands so cold? I helped him sit down. It's getting hot. I want to ask someone to bring ice into the room. Prince Ning paused, saying nothing. What's wrong? I asked. Do you have something to tell me? He said. My nose stung, a mix of anger and grievance welling up, but I could not guess how he would react if he knew, and I could not bear the risk. I'm fine. Prince Ning let go of my hand and sipped his tea with a cold expression. I did not know what to say either. After a moment, he sighed, put down his teacup, and stroked my head. Are we husband and wife? For some reason, my grievance overflowed at that moment, and I could not hold back my sobs. Yes, if you say so, then we are. He pulled me into his arms and patted my back gently. Don't be afraid, they won't live long. My heart skipped a beat, but Prince Ning said nothing more. 2 days later was my sister's and my birthday. I received a gift and an invitation from Jiao Tsongyu. I refused it. Did you find anything? I met with brother. Does the Jiao family have any skeletons in their closet? We had to plan ahead, to prevent the Jiao family from using this matter against us. Yes, brother said, if they dare to say a word, father and I can make sure they die without a grave. I nodded. First send mother and little brother to the south of the Yangtze River. I plan to confess to the prince in the next few days. All right, father, brother, and I all agreed that we could not keep the secret any longer. No matter how the prince chose to punish us, we would accept it. But unexpectedly, 2 days later, the crime of bending the law for personal gain by Jiao Tsongyu's father was exposed. He was convicted and sentenced, and the entire Jiao family was exiled from the capital. None of us in the Jiang family had expected this outcome. It's too much of a coincidence, brother muttered. We don't even have to lift a finger. I could not shake the strange feeling in my heart. Let's tell him on the Dragon Boat Festival, brother said to me. You come home for the festival meal, and the whole family will apologize to the prince together and beg for his forgiveness, mother said. I see how good the prince is to Ali. Maybe he won't hold it against us. I agreed too, on the Dragon Boat Festival. I went back to the maternal home to... I followed him, and after a dozen paces, a thought struck me. Stop. I stepped in front of him. He halted. What is your command? Second, miss. I tugged at my own robe. What color is the clothes I'm wearing today? He'd walked so smoothly just now. I suspected he could see. Doubt flared in my heart, sudden and sharp. I am blind, he told me earnestly. I cannot see. I waved my hand in front of his eyes. He did not react at all. Truly blind, I said. He took my hand. Let's go. My sister and Minute Shi had returned to the Minute Mansion. I told my family that Prince Ning knew about the switched marriage. Father, mother, and brother wanted to kowtow and beg for forgiveness, but Prince Ning comforted them, dismissing their guilt. The matter was laid to rest. From now on, the princess is Jiang Yang, mother said. We will guard this secret with our lives. After we returned to the manor, my doubt lingered. He'd walked too smoothly that afternoon. Your Highness, I'm going to bathe, he hummed in response, sitting at the table sipping tea, no reaction at all. When I came out, I deliberately wore a thin silk robe, flitting about in front of him. Still,
He did not react. Annoyed, I dragged a stool and sat down before him. Your Highness, I leaned in close, studying him. Can you really not see? He still did not react. I don't believe you. I slipped off my outer robe. His expression did not change, but the tips of his ears and his cheeks flushed bright red. A moment later, blood trickled from his nose. I stared at him, aghast. He stood up and hurried into the bathing chamber. Song Jingi, come out here. I banged on the door. Explain yourself. Through the door, his voice was muffled. Put your outer robe on first. I already have. Do you take me for a fool? I snapped. He opened the door. Our eyes met, and he glanced away at once. I let out a cold laugh. Your Highness, you pretend to be blind very well, but your nose gives you away. He coughed, embarrassed. Will you not admit it now? I never meant to hide it from you forever, he said softly. The time was not right. I laughed, exasperated. He straightened my lapel for me. Now we're even. I don't think we are. I shot him a glare. You never explained what you said at my home this morning. He glanced around, then picked up his teacup, pointedly avoiding the question. If you care who you marry, why stay silent when you saw it was me under the wedding veil? He hung his head, twirling his teacup, and mumbled. Have you ever seen a man who struck it rich shout it from the rooftops? What? I looked at him. I didn't hear that. Say it again. He suddenly blew out the lamp. Madam, let's rest early. I won't. I pushed him. I have a terrible temper. You saw me throw stones at Minachi this afternoon. I can throw them at you too. He kissed me. My breath was stolen away in an instant, my legs going weak as I collapsed into his arms. After a long while, he whispered in my ear. You dropped hints every day, buying loaches to nourish me. He sighed. But I was afraid you were only enduring it, not truly wanting to be with me. You have no idea how hard it was for me. You little liar. Now you know all my secrets. I can never let you go. I beat at his chest, but I could not move him an inch. Song Jingi, whoa. When I woke the next day, the first thing I saw was Prince Ning's face. I glared at him. Madam, I'm sorry. What for? I asked. For being too greedy for your touch. Tiring you out, I laughed, exasperated. He stroked the scar on my arm, his brow furrowing. I quickly covered it with my sleeve, pulling him up for breakfast. From that day on, there were no more barriers between us. He dropped all pretense. When we were alone, he was talkative and clingy. In front of others, he resumed his act, seeming helpless, needing me for everything. Tsuejuan, speaking behind Prince Ning's back, whispered, the prince's eyes light up every time he sees you. It's a good thing no one else notices. They'd surely figure out his faking his blindness. After all, what blind man has such bright eyes? I could only laugh, amused and helpless. The days slipped by, and July arrived. The greenhouse was finished, and Prince Ning and I spent every day tending to the flowers and grass. An invitation came from the palace. The Empress suddenly announced a 100-day feast for the Crown Prince's fourth son. Do they hold such feasts for all the princes and imperial grandsons? I said, the reason for the feast seeming flimsy. No, the Crown Prince never even had a 100-day feast when he was a baby. Prince Ning's tone was calm. We're not going. The flowers and grass at home need us. My heart warmed. I hugged him, smiling. You're right, our flowers and grass can't do without us. That day, we truly spent the time in the greenhouse, sipping tea and admiring the flowers, though the famous paintings on the wall had been replaced with our clumsy, amateur sketches. Your Highness, Liren finally returned unmarried. I asked him why he had not married. He looked embarrassed. The prince was in such a hurry. I couldn't find anyone to marry in time. I pinched Prince Ning. Speak your business, Prince Ning said, taking my hand, gesturing for Liren to continue. Liren said, oh right, I almost forgot, something's happened in the palace. What? Prince Ning said, casual as ever. The emperor drank tea offered by the crown prince and was poisoned. He accused the crown prince of treason and wants to depose him, Liren said. The crown prince is locked up in the imperial clan court right now. Prince Ning showed no reaction. How can you talk about such a huge thing so casually? I stared at master and servant, aghast. Liren scratched his nose awkwardly. Even more surprising, that same day, the crown prince flew into a rage in the imperial clan court, knocking over an oil lamp. the flame caught the curtains, and a fire broke out. The crown prince was trapped in the fire for half a quarter of an hour. By the time they pulled him out, he was barely alive. He lingered for 2 days, then died. The court was thrown into chaos, a bloodbath of political intrigue, but none of it touched the Prince Ning mansion. Prince Ning attended the crown prince's funeral, then returned home, closing the manor's gates and spending every day with me, tending to the flowers. In September, Minute Shi was disgraced, his reputation in tatters. My sister divorced him. With nothing to do, she came to the Prince Ning mansion often, saying she was bored at home alone, and invited me to stay a few days at my maternal grandmother's house. I wanted to go. I was leaning outside the greenhouse, sunning myself, when Prince Ning came over with royal physician Wang. I opened my eyes and looked at them. "What's wrong? Is someone ill, Your Majesty? I've come to take your peace pulse," royal physician Wang said. "Congratulations to Your Highness the Prince, to Your Majesty the Princess. This is a happy pulse. You are 2 months pregnant," royal physician Wang said with a smile. I snapped to my senses. No wonder I'd been so sleepy lately. I had not expected to be with child. Is it true that one cannot move about much in the early stages of pregnancy? Prince Ning asked royal physician Wang. Yes. Royal physician Wang said, ever the perceptive man, plenty of rest, and more time with the child's father. This will help stabilize the pregnancy. Prince Ning nodded. Thank you. I'll treat you to tea another day. It's my honor, royal physician Wang said, smiling, and took his leave. I leaned back in my chair, looking at Prince Ning with a half smile. Royal physician Wang is quite a clever man. Isn't he, a clever physician? Prince Ning said, squatting down in front of me and resting a hand on my belly. You must listen to the physician's words. I poked his cheek, glaring at him. That night, Consort Liang sent over a secret recipe for having a son, along with a pile of the 7th prince's old baby clothes, telling me to tuck them under my pillow to guarantee a son. Prince Ning stuffed them all into a chest. Don't listen to her. Even if we have a son, he'll never listen to his mother. Daughters are better, obedient and sweet. Very well, if he won't listen to his mother, we'll have a daughter. He chuckled softly.